All right, let's get right into it. When you think about your company's information security, you probably picture building a fortress, right? You've got these super strong walls, locked gates, guards on patrol, the works. But what happens when you need to open a gate and connect that fortress to your business partners? Well, that's where it gets really tricky. And that's exactly why we're here today, to deconstruct TISAX, which is basically the master blueprint for building a secure supply chain that actually works. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to talk about the big risk, the reason this is also important. Then we'll introduce TISAX as the standard that helps solve it. After that, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of building your fortress, the rules, the people, how you guard your most precious stuff, and how you actively fight back. And we'll wrap it all up by showing you how to take that security and build a trusted alliance with everyone you work with. So let's start with a fundamental problem, the big why. In today's world, no business is an island. It just doesn't work that way. Your data, your operations, your success, it's all tangled up in this huge web of suppliers, vendors, and partners.
And I want you to really stop and think about this for a second. I mean, really, you could have Fort Knox level security, but what about that logistics company you use, or the cloud provider that holds all your customer data? Are you sure they're secure?
And that right there is the heart of the issue. A breach doesn't have to happen inside your walls to completely wreck your day. An attacker is going to look for the easiest way in, and a lot of the time, that's through your least secure partner. This whole idea of shared risk, this collective vulnerability, it's the exact problem TISAX was designed to fix. Okay, so think about it this way. If everyone in the neighborhood is building their own fortress with their own unique design, how can you ever trust that your neighbor's wall is as strong as yours? You just can't. What you need is a common blueprint, a shared standard that everyone agrees to build by. And for our purposes, that's TISAX. TISAX basically gives everyone a common language to talk about security. It's a way for companies, especially in the auto industry where this all started, to check each other's security against one single, really tough standard. It's not just another checklist. It's a system for building and, just as importantly, exchanging trust. Now, at the very heart of TISAX is this super important concept, the ISMS, or Information Security Management System. Think of your ISMS as the command center for your entire fortress. It's the whole system, all the policies, procedures, and controls that make sure your security is intentional and well managed, not just a happy accident. All right, before we even think about all the cool high-tech defenses, we've got to lay a solid foundation. The strongest fortress in the world will crumble if the people inside don't know the rules or what a threat looks like. This is all about building a real culture of security. Every fortress needs a set of laws, and in security, that's your policy. TISAX is super clear about this. Your security policy can't just be some vague idea in someone's head. It has to be written down, it has to be signed off by the leadership, and everyone needs to be able to find it easily. And it has to spell out the goals, the rules, and what happens if you don't follow them. Next up, you got to train your people. They are your guards, they are your lookouts, they are your absolute first line of defense. TISAX says you have to train them on the basics, how to make a decent password, what malware looks like, and, this is a big one, how to report something that just looks off. This is how you turn every single employee into an active defender. And finally, for this section, you need a plan. Security is not a set-it-and-forget-it kind of thing. TISAX demands a continuous risk management process. What does that mean? It means you're constantly scanning the horizon for new threats, figuring out how bad they could be, and having a plan ready to go. It's about anticipating the attack, not just reacting to it. Okay, the foundation is solid. Now it's time to actually build the walls and post some serious guards at the gates. This part is all about protecting your most valuable information, your crown jewels, and being incredibly strict about who gets to see it. I mean, it's pretty simple. You can't protect what you don't know you have. So step 1 is just figuring out what your most important assets are. Step 2, you classify them. Is this top secret, public knowledge, something in between? And step 3, you create specific rules for each level. Your most valuable stuff gets the best protection. Makes sense, right? And this is a perfect example of one of the most critical ideas in all of security, the principle of least privilege, or as I like to call it, the need-to-know basis. The marketing intern, they get access to marketing tools. The system admin, they get the keys to the entire kingdom, but even they should use a basic account for email. You give people access to exactly what they need to do their job and absolutely nothing more. So, how do you enforce that? Through really strict user account management. TISAX says every account has to be unique and tied to a person, so you can track what's happening. No sharing accounts.
When someone leaves the company, you cut their access immediately. And those default admin/password combos on new gear, they have got to go. These are just simple, non-negotiable rules for controlling who gets in the gates. So, we've built the walls, we've identified our treasures, and we're controlling the gates. Awesome. But a fortress that's under constant attack needs more than just walls. It needs an active, real-time strategy to fight back.
So what happens when one of your guards on the wall spots something sketchy? They need a way to sound the alarm fast. TISAX requires a crystal clear process for this. First, anyone, and I mean anyone, can report something. Second, a team jumps on that report right away to figure out if it's a real threat and how bad it is. And third, and this is so important, you have to learn from every single incident to make your defenses even stronger next time. And of course, you need your technical shield. This is your frontline cyber defense. TISAX demands all the basics, but they have to be done perfectly. We're talking up-to-date anti-malware, automatic scanning of everything coming in from the outside, and a super fast process for patching any weaknesses you find. This is your automated patrol that never, ever sleeps. Okay, so by now, we've built a seriously secure fortress. But remember where we started? No fortress is an island. This last section brings everything full circle, back to the real goal here, creating a secure alliance that spans your entire supply chain. And look, this isn't just a nice thought. This is a direct quote from the TISAX standard itself. The blueprint explicitly says, your security job doesn't stop at your own front door. You are responsible for making sure things stay secure when you work with anyone else, period. So, how do you actually do that? Well, TISAX tells you. You have to assess the risk of every single partner. You have to write security requirements directly into your contracts. You have to verify that they're compliant. Don't just take their word for it. And you have to make them promise in the contract to hold their suppliers to the same standard. You're literally building a chain of trust link by link. And this right here is the real magic of TISAX. It's not just a framework to help you be secure. It's a framework for proving that you're secure. For years, companies drove each other crazy, sending thousands of different security questionnaires back and forth. TISAX replaces all that chaos with a single trusted assessment. It's a common language that builds verifiable trust, and that is a massive game changer.
And that brings us to our final question for you. It is no longer enough to just be secure. In this hyper-connected world, you have to be ready to prove it to anyone who asks. So, is your fortress ready for inspection?